When you're starting a new background file or any kind of file in Photoshop, you need to know sort of what size you want it to be. It's very different when you start it new than when you're starting from something that actually is already there. So I'm starting this one new, and I need to know what size it should be. So I go to File, New, and I can give it a name here. Remember, lowercase, no spaces, no strange characters, all lowercase. So I might name mine background. And then I need to think a little bit about what size I want it to be. You may have made your container a certain size, maybe you made your sidebar a certain size. So if it's going to be the background for the sidebar, you want to think about what that size is. I think I made my background about 300 pixels, and then I want it to be about half that size high. Okay, so you need to think about how many pixels are on the page. A normal page is anywhere from 900 pixels to 1024 or 1024 pixels. So those are sort of normal ranges. So you can think about what size you want it to be, and you can try it out in your page. So mine is going to be 300 by 150 by 72. I can say, and then the background can be either white or transparent. It always needs to be 72 because that's sort of the accepted web resolution. It's changing, but it is right now the accepted web resolution. It probably will change in the next year or two because of all the different kinds of devices. So you say, okay, and here is my little, here's my lovely little canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint a little bit on it, and maybe I'm going to paint with this color. This is the paintbrush, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down from the top. There are a couple other ones that look like paintbrushes. Ignore them. So you can go ahead and you can paint, right? I can paint. I can use one of these textured brushes. So up here, there are actually these textured brushes that you can use. If you click on the brushes and you look down, there's like all these textures, and I can kind of create these textures, right? Now, one thing you'll notice is I'm painting on the background layer. You should never do that. So I can go back in my window, history, and go back before I did all these brushes. I can go back to new. And what I should do is over here on my background channel, I should create a new layer. So down here is a new layer. And now I'm going to create that. I'm going to make these kind of big textural things. I want to have this kind of crazy texture. Okay, and maybe I might pick another color so it has more texture. This is not great. Obviously, if you play around with filters and other things, yours is going to look better, but it's fine, it's possible. Okay, so this is my background. Now the problem is if I go and I put it into a file now, the problem with this is that you're going to see these edges very clearly. So what I need to go do is I need to do this thing called filter, and it's other. You go down to you go up to the filter menu, you choose other, and then you choose offset. And what that does is, if you can see right here, it shows you what the line is going to look like. So you can move that line. Let's see, I want it to be a little bit more like that. I want this one to be more in the middle. Okay, so the cool thing about this is that we know all of the edges now will match up completely, because what it's basically doing is wrapping it around the edge. But now we get a chance to kind of mess with these edges. We get a chance to mess with the edges that weren't working. So I can now paint over them, and now it's going to be a much more seamless piece. So now I can go ahead and I can do my Save for Web and my optimizing, and it will be a much more seamless tiled piece.